This young man is Ian, a level 93 player. Today, Ian was hunting monsters as usual. He quickly took down a huge goblin, planning to earn about 100,000 gold before logging off. Suddenly, another monster appeared right in front of him. But this time, it was a two-headed goblin. The younger head was bald, while the older one had a horn nearly 8 inches long. The giant monster attacked Ian. Thanks to his hater skill, he narrowly dodged the strike. Currently, he only had one hater skill left usable for 1 minute and a stun trap. Without overthinking, Ian lured the monster into the trap. The monster was paralyzed for about 5 seconds and weakened. Ian seized the chance to activate his full skill set. He focused on shooting a critical arrow piercing through the monster's chest. After defeating the two-headed goblin, Ian gained 98,500 experience points, a cauldron and goblin warrior boots. As he received them, Ian exclaimed, "Oh man, getting even one item from the goblin warrior set is as rare as hitting the lottery. Yet I got 2 items. I must have just used up a whole month's worth of luck. Awesome." But that's not all. Ian also received an additional Miulan crystal. This is a very valuable item that can unlock a hidden summoner class for players from the NPC responsible for class changes. The catch is, it's only for players under level 10 who haven't undergone a class reset yet. This guy is already level 93 and still got it. Truly the godfather of luck. But Ian was a bit troubled, because this item can't be sold and can only be used to recreate your character. Yet right now, he's top of the server. Restarting at level 1 would be brutal. That's for kids to worry about. A grown-up like Ian would rather just return to town. He went to meet an old man selling items and asked if he had something called a resurrection potion. The old man said, "You're in the right place, bro. I just got one." As he spoke, he handed Ian a red potion and warned, "Once you drink this, all your current power will vanish and can't be restored." The guy was probably stating the obvious, because that's exactly what Ian wanted. "Alright, let's do this." Without hesitation, Ian drank it down. Instantly, his level and stats reset. This area is the Bond Training Center. Other players were very surprised, chatting about Ian. He had been training for over a day. Some said they'd never seen such intense practice, like an explorer searching for true power. The next day, the first thing Ian did was find the Summoner Guild. He quickly found a building. This was the Summoner Class Change Center. Inside, it was eerily quiet. Ian seemed to be the first to arrive. Ian went upstairs to meet the Guildmaster. He immediately stated his request to change his class to Summoner. The Guildmaster pondered. The path of a summoner is not an easy one. Taming fierce monsters isn't something just anyone can do, Ian said, because it's difficult. That's why he thought it was an awesome class. Just a heads up, but the Guildmaster knew well. Ian met all the requirements to change classes, so he asked one last time if he really wanted to switch from his current class to Summoner. Yasua absolutely. Then Ian handed the guild master the Miulan crystal. He happily accepted and praised Ian as someone more amazing than he had expected. Ian thought to himself, "Now hurry up and give me that hidden summoner class reset." At that moment, Ken said he wanted to ask Ian for a favor. "A blue-eyed wolf has appeared in the Ramus Plains. My son has now switched to the summoner class. And he said he wants a blue-eyed wolf as a summoned pet. I want you to catch it." Ian was surprised upon hearing this. Isn't a blue-eyed wolf a rare monster above 40-star rank? Such a powerful monster is mentioned in a job change quest for beginners at level 10. Then Ken continued, "Right now I'm very busy here, so I can't go alone, and it's embarrassing to say this, but my son isn't strong enough to face it. I'll give you 5 binding magic scrolls. Weaken the wolf, then bind it with a magic scroll. The wolf appearing in the Ramus Plains is still young, so its strength isn't that high." As soon as he finished speaking, the system immediately notified Ian of the quest. The reward for completing it is the summoner class that tames monsters. Ian accepted the quest right away. Ken said if he failed he could come back to him. He would provide some other support items. This means the quest won't disappear. If you fail once after understanding, Ian quickly set off. He was quite confident since he was currently level 10. But his stats were almost like those of level 30, so this would be easy. However, after finding the wolf, his confidence dropped sharply because it was level 20. Could he defeat a level 20 monster? At just level 10, Ian attacked the wolf with an arrow. Although it hurt, the wolf still charged back. He was about to shoot another arrow when he suddenly thought, if I keep this up, it might die. But my quest only requires weakening it and binding it with a magic scroll. After thinking for a moment, Ian decided to beat the wolf into a pulp first. Then he punched it around relentlessly. When it could no longer stand, he opened the binding scroll to tie it up but got a system failure notification. The monster's HP must be reduced to a certain level before binding. Ian feared that if he hit it more, the wolf would die. So he came up with a plan. He would heal it first so it wouldn't die, then beat it up again. It was kind of cruel to the little guy, just fed it and now beating it again. The wolf's expression seemed to say, "Dad, I've been putting up with you for a long time." The second time, after tiring his fists, Ian successfully bound the blue-eyed wolf with the binding scroll. This quest took him quite a while. Surely many players have already switched to the summoner class. I have to hurry up really fast. Ian returned to meet guild leader Ken. He thought Ian wouldn't complete the quest, but after hearing that, he caught the wolf. He was very surprised. "That's amazing, truly amazing," he thought silently. The first quest of the monster tamer class usually fails, but Ian succeeded. It was unbelievable. Then Ken said, "The tamer class really doesn't suit Ian. Do you want to become a master?" The system announced. "The Summoner Guild leader is impressed by your abilities. He wants you to lead yourself. The Guild Master Summoner was impressed by your skills. He wants you to lead the team. On the path to becoming a master tamer." This was the first time Ian had heard of a quest. The profession was set up like this, but it was definitely a class higher than a regular tamer. So Ian quickly agreed. He immediately changed to the hidden summoner class reset as a master summoner tamer. New stats critical hit taming leadership were established. Basic summoning skill window level 1 appeared. Additionally, he received 500 reputation points. And Ian became the first master tamer after upgrading to the master tamer rank. Ian thought the first thing he needed to do was tame a summoned beast. The tutorial said he should tame the red wolf. Ian walked confidently. "I will be the first to become the strongest with this profession." But as soon as he stepped outside to hunt, his dream was shattered. Because many others had already switched to the new profession, and the AI was also trying to catch that red wolf. Ian didn't expect them to be faster. "Maybe I'll just watch how they do it." So the AI all tried to capture the red wolf, but at the last moment it escaped. It seemed very difficult to catch such a high-level monster. Plus, it took quite a bit of time to find them. After thinking it over, Ian decided to start catching other monsters. If he caught some first, it would be easier. He was also curious about his current stats. "How many wolves can I catch? I have to try to find out." Ian stood on high ground. He aimed his arrow straight at the wolves, quickly hitting one. Checking its info, it was a level 12 wolf. Besides the usual stats, it also had a timid personality, unable to evolve. Monsters have personalities too, whatever. Ian continued hunting another one. This one was a mid-tier wolf, agile level 12, usually living in grasslands, with swift legs and sharp teeth. Intelligent personality, but still unable to evolve, especially with higher stats than the previous wolf. Ian realized monsters of the same level could have different data, so he wanted to see which wolf among the pack below had the highest stats. Since today was all about hunting wolves, Ian would catch them all and keep the one with the highest stats, releasing the rest. Repeating this process many times, Ian's critical hit stat increased by 1. He earned the title of Wolf Expert because he caught a large number of wolves. This title allowed Ian to identify high-level wolves without needing to catch them. Having this made things a bit easier. Then Ian immediately used his skill to analyze. He saw wolves at different levels. Suddenly one looked annoying to him. It lunged to bite, but was stopped. Ian smacked it hard. After capturing it and checking its stats, it was a level 11 wolf, stamina 90 out of 90, attack 37, defense 15, speed 19, intelligence 19, average level, brave personality and capable of evolving. Ian thought it was awesome. Although it was level 11, its stats were higher than a level 13 wolf. Plus, it could evolve. So he decided to focus on training this beast and named it Lee. Then he took Lee hunting right away to warm up. Meanwhile, at Iu Hyun's office, he was complaining about the Flower Guild. Sen has grown weaker ever since Jin Sung left. Jin Sung is the player controlling the character Ian. Jin Sung said he would reset his class to Hidden Summoner. Iu Hyun wonders how strong his combat skills are. And when will Jin Sung return? If you don't know, just ask Google. He went online to research the Summoner class. However, most information about this class is negative. Here's a sample headline. I'm a level 12 summoner, and here's my thoughts after a hunting trip. As soon as the new server launched, I switched to being the first summoner. The summoner class seemed fun, but it has a major drawback. You gain experience very slowly. Summoning takes up part of your experience gain. So leveling up is painfully slow. Plus, there are a lot of bad reviews about this class. Iu Hyun thinks. It's normal to have complaints at the start, but this sounds pretty rough. Jin Sung even recreated his character because of it. Slow leveling seems real. Maybe reaching level 20 and joining a guild will take him a long time. Meanwhile, in Kelon, Ian and Lee are actively hunting. And he reached level 20 very quickly. Looks like Hyun was worrying too much. At this moment Ian orders Lee, follow my arrow, don't attack first. He activates the blessing of wind. Ian's speed increases by 37%. Ian shoots an arrow that hits the red fox. Lee understands and seizes the chance to strike the wound. The fox is hit by Lai's arrow. Although Lai's level and stats are lower than the red fox's, it charges in fearlessly. Ian praises Lai for doing well. He shoots another arrow hitting the fox's chest. This time he defeats it. He gains 265 experience points. Lai also gains 265 experience points. Ian realizes experience is split evenly between the character and the pet, so he needs to level E up to at least level 15. Then he starts activating basic training skills to train Lee, his summoned pet. Lee will improve its understanding of summoner commands. About 10 minutes of training will increase the summoned pet's potential. After some training and first aid, Lai finally levels up to level 15. Just after leveling up, Ian wants to take Lee to hunt some bears. Alright, time to move to a new hunting zone. Through hunting, Ian's skill mastery has increased. His basic summoning skill is now level 2. He gains 3 skill points. He learns the active skill, Blessing of the Wild Warrior, and the passive skill, Basic Tactics. Hard work really pays off. First, let's check the Blessing of the Wild Warrior skill. It's an active skill. Proficiency level 0%, requires 150 MP, applies the Blessing of the Wild Warrior to yourself and party members for about 20 minutes, increases attack power by 30%. When applied to a summoned pet, the effect increases up to 100%. Next is Basic Tactics. It's a passive skill, proficiency level 0%, leadership and taming skill stats of the summoner. Increase by 10% during summoned pet battles. It will be easier to understand the master's commands, meaning if the leadership skill increases by 10%, the player can tame a bear. There were a few big black bears below. Ian immediately wanted to try taming one. The taming was quite easy. Then Ian compared the stats between the two and saw that the bear was already level 38, while Lee was only level 15. Not sure when Lee could evolve, but for now, he had to summon this bear first. Then, without waiting for Lee to rest, one person and one beast went hunting. He used the Blessing of the Wind and the Blessing of the Warrior. Wild. Ian ordered Lai to attract the attention of the bear in front. Lai did the job very well. Ian thought to himself this basic training skill was really top-notch. Lai could fully understand the fighting style he wanted. After defeating that big bear, the summoned beast Lee reached level 19. Ian petted its fur and said, "Grow up quickly, good boy," but right now, leveling up was slowing down if they kept hunting like this. Ian thought he should also do quests to level up to level 20. Lee moved on. Ian activated the skill to target weak points as usual. Lee charged to attack the bear. Then Ian easily finished it off with an arrow. They defeated an Asian black bear. Gained 545 experience. Ian felt it was fast. He had hunted here before as a level 35 archer. The hunting speed was also faster than before. At this time, among the bear pack, there was one bigger than the rest. Ian used a skill to check its stats. It was called the Shadow Bear, a unique rare beast. Awesome. But could Ian catch it? Checking showed his leadership stat was too low to tame it. A bit regretful, but he had to accept not catching it. The pet was for hunting. So next time he returned to town, he would definitely buy a bunch of soul contract scrolls, saying that he and Lee continued hunting. Lee was very fierce because its combat stats were almost equal to Ian's, so a level 38 beast was nothing to it. It lunged to bite the big bear's neck effortlessly, finally defeating the shadow bear, gained 1045 experience, and Lee reached level 20. Ian petted and said to Lee, "Awesome. After reaching level 20, you can do everything in Kelon. For example, joining this guild, dungeon or maze quests, and many quests require reaching level 20. Then Ian started checking the loot. He had received Asian black bear meat, bear hunter's warhammer, immortal shadow necklace, all things he had never seen before. He began appraising the necklace. Item info for immortal shadow necklace, unique rank, intelligence requirement 35 or higher, durability 124 out of 124, option HP plus 15%. Reduces skill cooldown time by 20%. A mysterious necklace created by obsidian, containing darkness like an abyss. It was a valuable and rare item. Ian was thrilled. I already had a pretty good necklace from the auction house, but this one was much better. My luck is really high. Regarding this item, Ian had no complaints. He wanted to check Lai's stats. Saw increases attack up by 4, defense up by 2. He was a bit surprised. Could monsters become stronger as they leveled up? That made no sense. Its growth rate is abnormal. This definitely isn't a coincidence. Then, figure out the cause. The answer lies in the basic training skill potential stat, which has increased Lai's potential. Every time the potential stat rises by 10, the growth rate of the stat also increases, so the basic training skill is glitched. Ian was right. Hidden classes also have unique skills. All monsters have their own potential stats that determine their growth speed when leveling up. In other words, a monster's class increases naturally based on its potential, and training skills are what boost it. Then Ian decided to allocate all remaining skill points to training. Basic training reached level 5 and upgraded to intermediate training. Intermediate training is an active skill. Cooldown time is 25 minutes. Select a pet to enter training mode for 15 minutes. A summoned beast in training mode will better understand its master's commands. The summoned beast's potential will increase. Repeating training mode increases potential points according to the level of the intermediate training skill. Luckily, Ian saved his skill points instead of going after that bear earlier. He felt relieved after uncovering this big secret. So Lai's potential is now 94 and will soon reach 100. It's been almost an hour wasted. He has to grind to gain more experience. The first thing Ian does is visit an NPC and wants to join the Lotus Guild. The man said, "The Lotus Guild prioritizes level 60. I can send a join request for you, but I don't think you'll be accepted. Do you still want to proceed?" Ian thought he was close friends with the guildmaster and also friendly with key members, so there shouldn't be any problem. At worst, he could just text Yu Hyun to get approval. The man sent the join request and notified that Ian would be registered automatically once the guildmaster approves. First task done. The second task is to auction off the house. Ian will replace all his gear. This is a privilege of a wealthy new player. He will switch to the best gear suited to his current stats. Summoner class bonus points. Don't add to melee, but instead boost summoning stats like taming. Ian might rely more on summoned beasts later. Looking at the weapons in front of him, he hesitated, wondering if any would boost his summoning stats, like something with a charm or spell attached. After browsing for a while, Ian found a Nature Mother's headband item, durability 224 out of 224, defense 24, energy option plus 25%, head accessory type, hero rank, item use level requirement 25. Special ability summoned beasts gain 20% energy and 15% combat power. Summoned beasts get 15% chance to dodge bullets. Ian thought this was amazing and decided to buy it for 150,000 gold. Probably other items labeled Nature Mother are also for summoners. So Ian searched the keyword Nature Mother. Sure enough, there were many other items. One was called Nature Mother's Staff. Combat power 150 to 165. Durability 201 out of 201. Intelligence option plus 21. Leadership plus 35. Head accessory type, hero rank. Item requirement level, 20 strength, 40 charisma, plus 20 special ability. Summoned beasts gain 35% combat power. Summoned pets have 15% increased critical hit chance. This staff is pretty impressive too. But Ian specializes in bows, so he wasn't sure if he could use this staff. In the end, he decided to buy it anyway. He figured he couldn't rely on the bow forever. It was time to get familiar with another melee style. Although he was a bit unaccustomed to wielding the staff at first, the AI had no first-time jitters. Soon after, Ian summoned his Lee in town. Mid-range training still works inside town, so he had to use it as soon as the cooldown ended. And so man and beast set out together to find quests. Inside the town, other players whispered when they saw Ian. "Whoa, look, he's a 1 million level summoner. His summoned beast is a wolf, probably pretty low level. I heard leveling up as a summoner is a real pain. I've never seen a summoner above level 15, but Ian didn't pay those comments any mind. He just focused on doing the Goblin Camp quest. He could earn double experience by completing the Goblin Camp mission. At that moment, Ian found Lapierre, a quest NPC. Ian greeted him, and luckily, Lapierre still remembered him. Even though he had reset his level, Ian asked Lapierre, "Commander, have the goblins been causing any trouble lately?" He learned that the recon unit was short on soldiers and was struggling with the new Goblin Camp nearby. Lapierre asked if Ian could recommend some skilled mercenaries. Ian said he wanted to help personally, but forgot. This quest required a team of 2 or more. He was unsure whether to bring the AI. Because he didn't think there were any new guild members around level 40, Ian had to request a delay for the recon mission. To form a team, but first he needed to clear out some goblin scouts outside the camp. Specifically kill at least 10 goblin scouts and return safely. Ian accepted the quest. But just that took 30 minutes, so frustrating. At that moment, he saw Yu Hyun online with the nickname Harris. He immediately messaged Yu Hyun to let him join the team, Of course Hyun agreed right away. He was a bit surprised Ian hit level 20 so fast. Even the Dark Wizard didn't level up that quickly, but Juhan reminded him. Ian needed to level up even faster. Without Ian Hyun would struggle with many things. Ian asked Hyun if there was any AI around level 40 in the Lotus Guild, but the answer was no. So Ian had to go to the guild hall to ask guild members to introduce someone before forming a team with strangers. Everyone in the AI wondered why Ian was looking for a level 40 member. Ian just said straight up, I'm planning to take on the Goblin Camp Conquest quest and need one more person. That AI could contribute or not. Just come into the camp with me, I'll carry them. The AI found it hard to believe since Ian was only level 20, but wanted to carry someone else. Ian explained that, although he was level 20, he was lucky to have a summoned beast, so he could still handle the quest and his pet would carry him. The AI admired Ian's luck. Suddenly, someone named One introduced Ian to a level 45 friend, but she created a character with a crafting class. So, her melee skills were probably weak, her melee class was priest, and her crafting class was chef. Actually, Ian wasn't too concerned about abilities, he just needed someone to meet the required number of people. Then he asked Quan to contact that girl and left the chat room. He thought chatting with guild members was fun, but it didn't compare to the thrill of hunting and leveling up on the battlefield. He planned to complete the mission quickly before hearing back from Quan. Very quickly, Ian arrived at a forest. This place was home to many creatures that looked like leopards called kun monsters. It would be really cool if Ian could catch a kun. He thought Lee didn't look very cool or strong. It seemed like Lee could read his thoughts or something because the little guy looked annoyed and stepped back. Ian hurriedly explained, Hey Lai, do you know how much I love you? Lai seemed indifferent, then suddenly its body started glowing. It was evolving, probably heard its master thinking it wasn't cool or strong enough, so it evolved to prove itself. Seeing this, Ian's eyes lit up, but he still didn't know what triggered the evolution. Lai's potential had reached 100, so its appearance was about to change. Ian hoped it would grow bigger, so he could ride it. After a while of evolving, Lee transformed into a blood mane wolf. It looked more battle-ready with its red mane. Thanks to the successful evolution of the summoned beast, Ian's intermediate training skill proficiency increased. The intermediate training skill leveled up to level 2 and was at 45.7% before the next upgrade. Ian was the first to successfully evolve a summoned beast. His reputation rose by 1,000, and his charisma and leadership increased by 30. Ian was the first to summon a red mane wolf. His reputation increased by 1,500. Ian laughed joyfully, exactly as he wished. Lai was now much bigger. And, its stats increased HP 700, 90 out of 700, 90 combat power, 235, defense, 97 dexterity, 215, monster type, rare rank, brave nature, capable of evolving. Intelligence 135, inheritance ability returns 15% of damage taken to health. And if it lands a critical hit, it will take 50% of the damage instead of health. If it lands a critical strike, the enemy will start bleeding. Enemies affected by bleeding will take an additional 20% damage per second for 10 seconds. After reading Lai's post-evolution info, Ian used his overpowered summoner class skill. Only then did he say, forget those Korkuns, I don't need them. Even with a whole Korkun squad, my Lai is still the best. Then he asked Lai, can I ride on your back while moving? Lee sat down to let him climb on, and they dashed all the way to the Dream Valley. The feeling was just yomost. The two started the mission, but just evolving to look that cool wasn't enough. Ian activated the Wind Blessing. Lai's dexterity increased by 37%. Then he activated the Fierce Blessing, boosting combat power by 33%. Lai's combat power rose by 66%. Then Ian ordered Lai to attack the wandering goblins first while he supported from behind. He believed Lai wouldn't be weaker than any goblin in close combat, it would be much stronger. Plus, it had 2 inherited passive abilities. Still, he shouldn't be overconfident. Ian activated the weakness detection skill, which helped him find the enemy's weak points. Accuracy increased by 14.5%, critical hit chance by 22%, and attacking weak points added 91% extra damage. These 3 goblins were level 40 monsters. After spotting Lai, they hadn't had time to react. The feeling was really intense. The 2 of them started the quest but just evolving so coolly, and then leaving it like that won't do. Ian activated the Wind Blessing. The dexterity of the summoned beast Lee increased by 37%. He activated the Frenzied Blessing, boosting combat power by 33%. Lai's combat power increased by 66%. Then Ian ordered Lai to attack the wandering goblins first, while he would support from behind. He believed that Lai wouldn't be weaker than any goblin in close combat. It would be much stronger. plus it inherited 2 passive skills. Still, he shouldn't be too overconfident. Ian activated the weakness detection skill, which allowed him to discover the enemy's weak points. Accuracy increased by 14.5%, critical hit chance by 22%, and attacking weak points dealt an additional 91% damage. These 3 goblins were all level 40 monsters. After spotting Lai, they hadn't had time to react. One guy was taken down by Lee with a single hit. This surprised Ian a bit. Another goblin hit Lee, causing it to lose 294 health points, but no big deal. It countered with 495 damage to the scouting goblin, and recovered 15% of its health. Just like that, Lai single-handedly landed critical hits one after another, wiping out the savage goblins. Ian hugged Lee and said, "Thanks for carrying me, buddy. This is pretty chill." The next goblins were left for Lee to handle. Ian lay on the cliff, checking the chat of a level 45 player. Her name was Hajin. She agreed to team up with Ian. Ian was determined to reach level 100 within the next 2 months, hit level 50 in 15 days, level 80 in the following 15 days, and level 100 in the remaining month. That was his plan. He was going to win this bet at all costs. Then Ian chatted with Hajin. After greetings, he asked, "Where are you at right now?" Hajin said, "I'm fixing gear at the forge." Ian replied, "Stay there. I'll be there within 10 minutes. Very quickly, Ian found the forge in Luken. Hajin was there. She was quite a cute girl. She said, "I'm ready, so I can accept the quest whenever you are." "Great, I'm ready too. Is there a special reason you're doing this quest run?" "Yeah, there's a quest I want to do that only unlocks after completing this run. It's a quest from Duke Chippen's chef, but to enter the Duke's castle, I have to finish this quest first." Ian asked in surprise. "What quest? From the chef again?" Hajin said her crafting class was a chef. She specialized in culinary arts. Even in the real world, crafting classes are hard to manage, but since she specialized in cooking, it was probably a bit easier in Kellen. Real-world talent often influences crafting classes. Ian, seizing the chance to flirt, said, "You're the first chef I know. When I get the chance, can I taste your cooking?" Hajin replied. "How could I say no?" Quickly, the two returned to Lapierre's place. Seeing only Ian and Hajin, Lapierre said, "You two will be a bit of a challenge, but since I trust Ian's skills, I agreed to assign the quest. The Vanguard unit just left. If you hurry, you can catch up. Follow them and assist." The quest changed a bit because Ian was late, but the reward remains the same. Gold based on contribution to the Goblin raid. Experience points will be doubled during the quest. As the two prepared to leave, Ian summoned Lee. Hajin, a bit scared, was reassured by Ian. "That's my summoned beast, not a monster." Hajin was surprised. "So now I find out Ian is a summoner, but I thought summoners just debuted a few days ago. How did Ian already do this?" "Goblin run quest." He made an excuse. "It's all thanks to this wolf. It's really overpowered. It helps Ian level up fast and handle goblins easily." To be honest, if Ian was only level 25, Hajin probably wouldn't want to team up with him, but this girl was maybe a bit dumber than Ian thought. She believed what Ian said, and even though Hajin was level 45, she couldn't defeat a scouting goblin. She said she preferred cooking over hunting, so she was fine with it. "This wolf is seriously cool. I've never seen this wolf species before, probably because it's the only one on the entire server." "There," Hajin suggested, feeding Lee. She made Lai a steak covered in a delicious sauce that made Ian drool. He wanted to eat some too. Unexpectedly, after eating that smoky steak, Lai's health points increased by 200 for 20 minutes. Ian was surprised, all thanks to Hajin's skill. Depending on the food's rank, it buffs the eater for a certain duration. Lai's health of 1,400 is a bit low. Adding 200 is a super strong buff. Ian thought it would be beneficial to maintain a friendly relationship with Hajin from now on. It would be very advantageous, and he also wanted Hajin to feed him something, but Hajin told him to wait until after the quest, because there's nothing available right now. At this moment, the Summer Valley Purge squad had arrived. The squad leader is Hugo. Ian and Hajin came as new mercenaries. Luckily they weren't late. Ian noticed some other players around, but they didn't look very comfortable. Then he felt it wasn't his business, and stopped paying attention. Not long after, a horde of goblins appeared from afar. Hugo shouted, "Today, we will wipe out all the goblins in Summer Valley. Soldiers advance." Both sides charged at each other. Hajin looked worried at this point, but Ian had already calculated Hajin's tendency to panic easily. This made her very skilled at creating shields. The plan was simple. Hajin would protect herself with shields. Whenever her cooldown ended, she would buff Ian and Lee. Hajin's level was also higher. The goblins in the camp plus her brilliant shield skill, around level 60. So it would be hard for Hajin to die here. Ian planned to use Hajin as a tank if she blocked attacks from the front. Ian and Lee would gain experience points. Ian decided to maximize Hajin's power and deliver the highest efficiency for both. Although she might die if the plan failed, Hajin still chose to trust Ian. Ian said, instead of choosing to trust, he should choose to trust Lee. Just as Ian planned, Hajin did very well creating shields and faced no obstacles. Lee was still dominating the goblins, continuously killing them and gaining experience points. Thanks to that, Ian leveled up quickly. Now he had reached level 26, level 27. Witnessing Ian's battle, another player found it hard to believe. He called his two friends Falcon and Miulan over to discuss. They said with Ian's melee skills, he must be above level 60. But the hidden summoner class reset just came out. It's impossible to reach level 40 that fast. And they also suspected Ian's wolf was some kind of artifact with a summoning curse. One said, just by watching their fight, that priestess didn't know what she was doing. And the other guy was nothing. Without the wolf, she was melee fighting with a staff, and seemed to have no dangerous spells. The other two were surprised. You mean we should PK them? Newland asked. If we don't get good gear, we can't cover the loss. The PK penalty is pretty harsh. It's not easy to shake off the murderer label, but the blonde guy insisted on taking down Ian. He advised the other two. If we sell one summoner's artifact, we'll get at least 20 million gold. Even split 3 ways, each gets 6 to 7 million. The two of them lit up at the news, and a plan was quickly formed. Meanwhile, Ian was still fighting. It said that once you hit level 30, you get 2 consecutive skills, including your mastery skill, or at least one related skill. Then you receive a random skill. Currently, Ian's most mastered skill is the mid-level taming skill, so he hoped the skill he got would be related to boosting potential and capturing Hajin. At this point, he only had 5% mana left. Ian immediately ordered Lee to assist her. They quickly defeated a goblin warrior, gaining 921 experience points. Hajin patted Lee's head in thanks. Lee bowed back affectionately. For some reason, Ian felt Lee was closer to Hajin than to him. He trembled with anger, but now was not the time for jealousy, he thought to himself. He had to finish this fight first, then deal with this wolf later. By now, it was late afternoon. The punitive army had also approached the goblin's lair. At the goblin camp, the goblin leader angrily shouted, "Humans have come this far, wipe them all out." He raised his staff, unleashing a dark magic aura that engulfed the punitive forces. The warrior's armor was burning from his flames. Captain Hugo realized they had to kill the goblin leader. For the battle to end, morale among the allies rose by 30%. All stats increased by 10% for 20 minutes. Seeing this, Ian ordered Lai to attack the goblin leader. The goblin laughed mockingly. Heh heh heh, you're just a tamed skin by humans. Before he could finish laughing, Lai landed a critical blow. His HP dropped. Seizing the moment, Hugo immediately focused his attacks on him, reducing his health by 30% and throwing him into a frenzy. At this point, the goblin leader didn't know which skill to use, engulfing everything around in flames. Terrified, everyone scrambled to dodge. Ian also fled, but unfortunately was hit by an explosion that knocked him to the ground. His body was burning painfully. Just as he was about to use emergency aid, Hajin used healing light to restore 1,120 health to Ian. He was quite surprised by her skill. Thanks, he said, then ordered Lee to counterattack. You distract the goblin leader. Don't try to attack. He then switched to his legendary bow, waiting for the right moment. The goblin leader still stood there, much more ferocious now, so caution was key. No mistakes allowed. Otherwise, everyone would be wiped out. Almost no NPC could get close to him. NPCs who approached were burned alive by his flames. Suddenly, Lai the wolf lunged from behind at the unsuspecting goblin. At that moment, Ian shot an arrow straight into the goblin's head. He collapsed instantly. The game was easy. Everyone was amazed. But the truth was, the goblin leader had been defeated. Ian completed the goblin raid mission. Everyone cheered joyfully. Ian earned 6,740 experience points for killing the goblin leader. He contributed the most in the mission, gaining 124 reputation points. The mission required Ian to reach level 30 and unlock new skills. The special skill of that class is the spatial swap ability, while focusing on the new skill, the captain. Hugo came to greet Ian. You're the one who killed the goblin leader. Well done. We can raid the camp without suffering heavy losses thanks to you. I'm very grateful. Ian humbly replied, It's nothing. It's all thanks to the courage of the volunteers who led us to complete the mission. Hugo reminded Ian to return safely and then told the soldiers, We've completed the mission, let's head back to the village. Ian petted his wolf and checked the remaining skills, just as expected. This skill relates to potential, named Skill Division for summoned beasts. It's an active skill. With 0% proficiency. Cooldown time of 24 hours. It randomly assigns one skill to your summoned beast. Using this skill consumes 20 potential points, and once used for a summoned beast that already has a skill, the new skill replaces the previous one. The higher the skill proficiency, the higher the summoned beast's skill level. Ian thought I should give Lee a new skill too, but first I need to check Lee's potential rank. Lee's potential is still 6. If the points increase by 20, he'll try to assign a skill to it. Ian wants to help it evolve after getting another 100 points. But realistically, assigning a skill first would be better. For now, he put that aside. Ian continued reviewing the spatial swap skill. It's an active skill, cooldown time of 8 minutes. The summoner can swap positions with one of their summoned beasts. The summoner must be safe for half a second to 1 second to activate the skill. Increasing skill proficiency reduces cooldown time. After reviewing, Ian felt a bit disappointed, because he couldn't unlock any capture or attack skills. But, oh well. These skills are still quite useful in close combat. He should be satisfied with them. At that moment, Hazen spoke up to thank Ian. Ian shyly replied, "Haha, it's nothing. Hazen, you did more than one person could do. But without you, we wouldn't have completed it. Thank you." Ian pointed to his wolf. "Actually, it did more than me." Hazen also acknowledged Lee's close combat skills. She was very surprised by it. She petted it and said, "Thanks, Lee." Just then, the 3 players from earlier, who wanted to snatch Ian's kill, appeared. The blonde guy approached to make friends. "Nice to meet you. I'm Rukin. I didn't get a chance to introduce myself during the mission." Ian politely introduced himself. They shook hands formally. Then Rukin started talking about his purpose. He wanted to invite Ian to start a new quest, a hidden quest related to the camp mission. Ian thought it was a quest contributing to the High Priest. It's a very difficult quest. He had given up on it before, but now he's leveled up a lot after the running mission. So, he was considering that quest, but Ian wasn't stupid. These guys looked like they were above level 50. So why invite him to do the High Priest quest? The level gap is too big for them to benefit, and Ian had a bad feeling about this. He wanted to dig deeper to see what these guys really wanted. Rukin explained further. "There's a goblin High Priest quest in the tunnel behind the barracks. We just need to eliminate it. He will complete the mission. He's weaker than the goblin leader, but I think it will still be tough for us. I've seen your close combat skills, and it looks like you have a very powerful summoner artifact. So, if you guys join us, we'll finish the mission quickly." Hearing this, Ian no longer doubted and was certain. They think you summoned Ly through a summoner artifact, an artifact that's very valuable. They probably plan to take Ian out and finish us off in one go. Ian smirked and replied, "I get it, fine," but he still wasn't ready to agree immediately. He thought he needed to find an excuse first. At that moment, Ian messaged Hazen privately. He said, "Hazen, I think they're trying to PK us. It seems they intend to eliminate us while we're on the High Priest mission. But more precisely, they want to take Ian down." He wanted to inform Hazen so she could adapt accordingly. That was the answer to his question. Anyway, Ian already had a way to handle it. Then Ian told the others, "I really like this offer. But I have to ask my teammates first. Can you wait a moment?" Then he turned to ask Hajin. "Hajin, did you hear Rukin's invitation? What do you think? Of course, you guys will share the hidden mission with us, so there's no reason to refuse the offer." So Rukin thought Ian and Hajin had fallen into the trap, secretly looking down on them as fools, and planning to take them out at once. But little did they know Ian already had a plan to deal with these lowlifes. Elsewhere in Kellen, a man was sitting on a rock ledge. Surprise, it was Professor Lee Jin Hok Jin Sung's mentor. He was stretching, enjoying the fresh air of Kellon. The professor exclaimed, "Unbelievable. This is virtual reality. The scientists who created this are amazing." He even said he'd persuade the outdoor club members to hold their next meetup in Kellon. Look, he even brought kimbap to eat, just like a real-life picnic. And of course, like other players, he also had a pet. Its name was Goofy. Its meal was a whole pork leg. While enjoying the comfort, the professor suddenly remembered Jin Sung. He should have asked about his class earlier. He was still suspicious if Jin Sung's class was really a summoner. Meanwhile, Ian had entered the goblin cave with 3 scammers. Rukin was thinking, finally, the last phase of the hidden boss mission, the Goblin High Priest, will appear soon. Should I prepare? The real plan now. While these two deal with the Goblin High Priest, we'll pretend to be busy. Eventually, we'll take down these 2 gods and loot everything. Soon I'll hold an artifact worth millions of gold. Hehehe, Ian looked so ugly. Wow, perfect plan looks like an easy win. At that moment, Ian messaged Hajin, "The boss will appear soon. Do you see the place that looks like a prison? If that AI steps in even 1 step, the boss will appear within 5 seconds. Then the entrance will be sealed by iron bars. We'll keep following the group from behind, and when I give the signal, quickly jump back. Okay, then. He ordered Lee to attack the power nodes to clear the path. He told everyone to speed up their advance. Meanwhile, that guy Yuki was still delusional. Ian is such a clueless idiot. He thought there was no way he could escape without summoning a beast, and he believed everything was going according to his plan. He told Ian to move forward together. As soon as Ian agreed, Sai Lee stepped in first. Just as Ian and Hajin were about to enter, Ian quickly grabbed Hajin and ran away. The iron door slammed shut, leaving only the three scammers inside. Rukin was surprised and asked why Ian and Hajin didn't go in. Haha, why? Are you seriously asking me why I know you guys plan to PK us and steal my summoner artifact? So I have no reason to follow your plan. Enjoy yourselves in there, you three. Those three idiots looked shocked as hell, then started cursing. You dumbass, you don't understand anything. You can't escape from here. The mission says returning outside is impossible unless the boss monster is defeated, or all members are wiped out. Actually, we could handle the high priest ourselves. Once we take out the high priest, lifting these iron bars will be your doom. Soon enough, Ian showed no fear and even thanked Rukin for the warning. Then he ordered Lai to attack. Lai lunged and bit Miulan, reducing his total health by 32%. At this moment, the boss high priest appeared. Ian cancelled Lai's summon, leaving only 3 bewildered deer to watch as 2 people and 1 injured, one faced the boss. How would they handle the goblin high priest now? Rukin hurriedly told the other 2 to deal with the boss monsters first. He would handle Ian later. He didn't forget to taunt Ian, seeing if he could stay calm afterward. Ian just sat aside watching the show. Or maybe no third-rate villain ever succeeded after saying something like that. Meanwhile, Hajin looked worried about the 3. Seeing this, Ian advised her. If you're worried, then step in and help. Their situation doesn't look good. This goblin is way stronger than the ones before. Each one was big and strong. They wielded axes and attacked relentlessly, forcing the 3 to defend. No time to rest. Rukin managed to slash one goblin's chest. The goblin high priest began chanting some spell. Rukin realized they had to capture the high priest before he finished the chant. Miulan volunteered. He thrust his spear straight through the high priest's chest. Just as he was about to celebrate, something strange happened. The blessing and fury skills activated. The fallen goblin's combat power increased by 35%. It turned out Hajin had boosted the monster's strength. Her intention to help actually aided the goblins, not the 3 humans. Then the wind blessing activated. The fallen goblin's cunning increased by 42%. Ian told Hajin, since you're at it, can you bless their strength too? She stopped healing the humans and treated the whole goblin group. The 3 inside panicked and begged Hajin not to do it. But it was too late. Hajin had healed the goblins, and Rukin and his gang had no choice but to surrender. That night, back in town, Ian went to the auction house and sold some pretty good items the idiots left behind. Hajin thanked Ian because thanks to him, they completed the mission and got valuable loot. It turns out that because Hajin helped Gobi, the goblin high priest gave them his expensive necklace. Although the share was a bit small, Ian still gathered a lot of items, so it wasn't exactly a loss. Then they went to the auction house and sold those items, earning a hefty sum, specifically 660,000 gold. Besides those items, Ian also picked up a stone dropped by some PK players. He didn't know much about it. It felt warm, maybe some kind of heat pouch used in winter. While he was debating whether to toss it away, Hajin called out to him. She had bought ingredients for dinner. Ian realized it was time to wrap up the quest. The 2 of them went to meet the quest NPC again. Ian had contributed the most to this mission. The completion rank was 55. He received 56,700 gold and 1,743,200 experience points. Then he instantly leveled up to 34. Hajin happily announced she had reached level 46. At that moment, Ian remembered something. He pulled out the necklace and told the commander, actually, I met the goblin high priest behind the camp. Seeing this, the commander congratulated Ian, who gained an additional 674,200 experience points and leveled up to 35. I'm impressed. The guard unit has been searching for the goblin high priest for months. How did you find him? I was just lucky. No, it can't be just luck. You deserve this. Saying that, the commander handed over a letter. Ian was surprised and exclaimed, no way. It was a recommendation letter to participate in the kingdom's mercenary recruitment test. Commander Lucibin gave it to Ian and said, I see great talent in you. You must take the test in Muran. Ian accepted it and thanked the commander. Hajin also received a letter, but she didn't understand what the recommendation was about. Ian explained, if you bring this to the mercenary guild in Muran, you can take the mercenary recruitment test. Kelon has 5 continents. The open ones are Kolinaru, where we currently are, and a newly opened one called Maraka. Within Kolinaru, there are 2 major kingdoms, one of which is the kingdom of Lutiban. Its capital is Miulan, named after the kingdom's heroes. Oh, I get it now. Thanks for telling me, Ian thought to himself. Before level 50 I had no reason to go to Miulan. Hajin asked if taking the mercenary test would be useful. What's the benefit? If you pass the test and earn the mercenary title, you'll find it easier to get quests from NPCs. You can also gain many perks from the mercenary guild, depending on the melee skills you receive. Different rank titles. Sounds good. I'll just cook for a while. So I don't think I need anything else. Hajin planned to keep practicing cooking skills until the main cooking quest stalled. Seeing that Ian realized the most important thing in Hajin's life was cooking, he didn't know about other things, but Hajin's cooking rank was definitely top tier. Just the fact that Hajin's dishes boosted Lee's stats was proof enough. Then Ian shyly asked about Hajin's proficiency level in the chef profession. Hajin intended to keep it a secret, but ended up telling Ian that her proficiency was top tier 1st grade. And currently she was learning many advanced skills. Ian was stunned. Even the most common crafting professions like blacksmithing he had only heard of. The highest proficiency was top tier 3rd grade. Reaching such a high level in cooking is impressive. Wow, Hajin must be one of the top players. He heard it's very hard to increase proficiency in crafting professions. Hajin, you're truly amazing. If you ever need help, just say the word. Hajin thanked Ian for the offer and sent him a friend request, along with a gift. She had made this for Ian while waiting for him. It was some super delicious grilled meat. Ian happily accepted the gift and thought she was an angel. Keeping his promise, Hajin then said goodbye to Ian since she had been online for too long. At that moment, Ian was also about to have dinner. He planned to grind for 5 more hours before going to sleep, but first he had to reward himself with a chicken. However, the chicken delivery was slower than he expected. He had been grinding in the game for quite a while, but still hadn't received it. Meanwhile in Kelon, Ian was riding Leafy like flying. It seemed he had to catch up with something. Finally they arrived at the port. Ian's goal was to catch an icebush bear. To do that, he had to go to the deep island. Of course he needed to board a boat to get there. Ian spotted a boat from afar. It had already left the dock. He urged Lee to run fast toward the boat. But in the end, they were a step too slow. The boat was too far, and Lee couldn't jump that far. Ian ended up jumping onto the boat himself without Lee. Luckily, he made it just in time. The sailors on the boat showed an attitude like, "Damn, who the hell just jumped onto our boat out of nowhere?" While greeting them, suddenly a guy appeared behind Ian. He asked if Ian was the summoner from before. When Ian turned around, oh my god, there was a group of other players here too. Looking around the boat, it was just this group. Ian confirmed he was a summoner and wondered why they asked. Could it be PK? Why would they think that? He quickly drew his weapon ready for any situation, but it seemed Ian was worrying too much. Everyone just gathered to ask about his summoned beast. Did you just ride your dog? What breed is that wolf? You're a summoner, right? How do you get such a cool dog? It's huge and so cool. Can I pet it? Can you summon it again? That's when Ian realized he had misunderstood. It seemed he had been overly cautious. These guys simply liked Lee a lot. Ian asked them, "Are you guys heading to the deep island to do a quest?" The long-haired guy answered yes. The other 2 were wizards, helping them complete an ice magic quest. "Are you going there for a quest too?" "Ah," the wizard is asking more questions. "Could there be a quest for summoners on the deep island? Why so many questions?" Before Ian could answer, the long-haired guy bowed quickly. Sorry for being so curious. He seemed very interested in the summoner class. In his group there was a guy named Loran who was also a beast summoner, but could there be a quest for summoners on this remote island? Why so many questions? Before Ian could answer, the long-haired guy quickly bowed. Sorry for being so curious. He seemed really interested in the summoner profession. Among his friends was a guy named Loran, who was also a beast summoner, but that friend just found a summoning beast certificate. He asked Ian if he knew anything about it. Ian was a bit puzzled. The other guy added that they found it in the nest of a golden owl. It hasn't hatched yet, and he only heard about it up to that point. Hearing that Ian understood, the hunting ground with golden owls appears for the latter half of level 20. So, this Lauren player hasn't reached level 30 yet. Anyway, Ian hadn't heard of the existence of a summoning beast egg before. Summoning beasts, so he planned to study it more carefully, even if they were boss-level monsters impossible to conquer. If he could catch one of their eggs, Ian could also use it as a summoning beast. He thought that sounded pretty awesome, but he still had to stay cautious. Soon the ship arrived at the deep island covered in ice and snow. It made everyone feel like they were about to freeze solid, freezing cold. Ian was no exception. He had been here before, but it was still a pretty mysterious place. Ian and the other players weren't on the same mission. They had to go in two different directions. Not long after, Ian found a pretty good hunting ground, but before working, he had to eat lunch. Hold on. Ian took out the lunch Hajin had given him earlier. He threw a piece of meat to Lee. After eating for about 40 minutes, Li's health would increase by 100, dexterity by 20. Didn't expect you to get dexterity points too. The duration also doubled. Looks like a sweet deal. Ian planned to try one, but it was raw meat. Plus, remembering Hajin's warning, this was only for summoning beasts. Ian's lunch was this super delicious premium lean meat. He ate it heartily and felt extraordinary. It tasted unbelievably good. For 1 hour, his health increased by 500. Defense increased by 30. Amazing. Also, since he just ate his first high-grade meal, all stats increased by 3 permanently. Ian quickly opened the status window to check. Indeed, all his stats increased by 3. Training, attraction, and leadership also went up by 3. A total of 7 different stats increased by 3. That means he gained 21 stat points. If converted to levels, that would mean leveling up 4 times. Only then did he realize how awesome Hajin was. From there, a mischievous idea formed: to exploit Hajin for more food. Lunch was done. Now it was time for the mission. First, he ordered Lee to go catch a big chunk of ice together. Meanwhile, elsewhere, 7 people in the Luciban Kingdom wanted to PK. Ian had been pushed here earlier. Everyone in town was gossiping about them. Why are those guys sitting on the street like homeless? Probably dead. Logging back in after 24 hours. Yeah, we lose all gear and items if we die. After reviewing, they realized they had lost all their items, completely wiped out, nothing left. Surprise, surprise, it was Ian and Hajin who PK'd them back. Rukin's so lame, still holding on to pride. They must be really weak. If we hadn't fallen into their trap, they'd be sitting here by now. I'll show you what happens when you become enemies of our guild. Bet you won't be able to do anything anymore. From today on, I won't let you set foot in New Kelan. Meanwhile, Ian and Lee had been hunting for 10 hours. Time to rest and recharge. This time, Ian fed Lee 2 whole chunks of meat, thinking it was big, but the chunks were actually quite small. But Lee refused, wanting to give this second chunk of meat to Ian. Lee is so kind, even thinking about the master. But Ian said he already had other food. Only then did Lee feel at ease to finish the remaining meat. Ian took the chance to check the stats of the ice golems. He saw that the 2 he just caught were both level 37. He should catch 1 more to maximize his command points. Although these 2 were already quite big compared to the others, Ian still felt something was missing. It was because they couldn't evolve like Lee. So he would need 1 more. After a while observing, Ian spotted a yellow-named ice bush bear. He felt this was the one he needed to catch. Lie, go catch it. Suddenly, a strange creature passed by. It was a level 30 Abyss turtle, a unique rarity. Ian was surprised, since this was the first time he'd heard of this creature. It looked pretty useless. Not sure if it had any combat skills. After thinking it over, Ian decided to catch it. He had a hunch it was special. It was not only rare, but an unknown species, and also a unique rarity. He couldn't let it slip away. But this turtle looked quite fragile. Ian felt 1 hit would knock it out. So he tapped its shell with his stick. It immediately got angry and retreated into its shell. Ian tried to capture it, but the system kept showing failure. He had to lower its HP first. Even though he hit it pretty hard, it only lost 1 HP. Small but tough, huh? Out of options, Ian ordered Lai to bite it. Frustratingly, even when Lai bit hard enough to almost lose teeth, the HP still only dropped by 1. Not knowing what else to do, Ian suddenly thought of a plan. He decided to feed it. Maybe it would stick its head out. Turtle, this is really tasty. You'll regret not coming out. This trick actually worked. Ian began luring it closer. But he didn't give it food right away. There had to be a deal. Ian said if it wanted food, it had to follow him. He'd give it even better treats. Eventually, unable to resist the lure of delicious food, the turtle let Ian catch it easily. Holding this goofy turtle was harder than charming a model. Ian started checking its info. Abyss turtle level 30. HP 3520 out of 3520. Mana 1005 out of 1005. Attack 15. Defense 725. Dexterity 55. Intelligence 55. Species unknown. Unique rank, innocent trait, can evolve. Default skill, water gauge, absorbs all force. Attacks with water skills and recovers HP equal to damage dealt. Drains completely each absorption. Inside the turtle's shell. Its defense increases by 5 points. A resident of the deep island, appearing only once every 100 years. Because of its big head, it moves quite slowly. Ian was thrilled it could evolve. He knew there had to be something cool about it. Plus, its armor was even stronger than a level 100 monster. No wonder it only lost 1 HP despite being hit all that time. But its hidden potential and attraction stats were low, so Ian thought his only hope was that the turtle would evolve later. But who knows what it would become after evolving. First, he had to name it. Ian named it Pipuji. What a hard-to-pronounce name. Of course, the turtle didn't like its name. It showed its anger clearly. Right after Ian led Lai to hunt down that yellow-named ice bush bear, this one seemed very strong. Lai kept attacking to weaken it. At this moment, the bush bear was trying to unleash its ice wave skill. Ian quickly warned Lai to stay clear of its paws, but this move also had a weakness if just used. It needed some time before it could be used again. This was Ian's chance to attack the golden ice bear. Ian jumped high and struck a critical blow to its head with his staff. Then Lee immediately followed up with an attack. After a short while, Ian successfully captured the golden ice bear. He was quite satisfied. Its stats were as follows. Golden ice bear, level 38, health 5,400, 50 mana, 12,755, attack 200, 5 defense, 315, dexterity 66, intelligence 125, normal rank, gentle nature, capable of evolving, default skill, ice wave. It stomped the ground slowly, creating a chilling wave within a 15-meter radius. All targets hit would take 50% of attack power as damage and have their speed reduced by 30% for 10 seconds. Icy body. When in snowy regions, its stats increase by 30%. However, it takes double damage from fire-type attacks. A creation from the deep island, Ian felt it was worth every penny. Its hidden potential points were already 75. It took him nearly 2 days to catch this ice bear. Now it was time to head back. Next up was the Gropia Snow Mountain. Meanwhile, at Kopia Castle, Juk Hajin was happily cooking in the kitchen. She had just successfully made lobster with cream sauce. It looked insanely delicious, and that was without even being meticulous. If she had been more careful, this dish could probably sell for nearly 10,000 gold, truly beyond expectations. Ever since cooking in Juk's kitchen, Hajin's proficiency had skyrocketed. She suddenly thought of Ian, wondering what he was doing now, and if she missed him, she had to message him right away. Just as she thought of Ian, he messaged her asking, "What are you up to?" Turns out he wanted to ask for a favor. Ian said he planned to head north and wanted some of Hajin's food. Hajin replied, "Oh, that's easy. I just prepared quite a bit of food. Where should we meet?" "Oh, right, we'll meet there." But Hajin's mom didn't say where there was. Hajin thought to herself, it was lucky Ian asked for food. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to finish all the food she made. Strangely, Hajin felt happy about meeting Ian soon. Maybe there was some kind of feeling there. But then she quickly pushed that thought away. "Oh no, it's not like I want to see him or anything. It's just because he asked." Turning back to Jin Sung. At this time, he was resting and browsing online for any useful news. On YouTube, there was a new post about the Red Wolf attracting many summoners to Calipost Hill. Previously, the wolf was called Coco, and they also revealed special info that this Red Wolf could evolve. Jin Sung was surprised to hear this. Finally, information about summon beasts evolving was revealed. But it wasn't really surprising, it was just a matter of time, and he was glad they only found out now. Currently, the number of summoner players was beyond count, so it was only a matter of time before they discovered that summon beasts could evolve. However, without real training skills, it was very difficult to evolve them, and Ian's Wolf Lee was truly one of a kind. But without proper training skills, it's really hard to evolve them, and Ian's Wolf Lee was truly one of a kind. Besides, there's another piece of news about a uniquely notorious beast. Ian had already caught this bear before. Just taking a break, he wanted to enter Keelan to visit Pipapuji, then log into the game and immediately go meet Hajin. She handed him a huge bag of food, charging only for the ingredients. Ian hesitated and said, "Isn't this a bit too much? Hajin only charged me for the ingredients. Won't that bother you?" "Not at all. Compared to the quest you helped me with, and that necklace, it's nothing, Ian." It felt like there were even more super expensive items inside he wanted to devour right away. Then he thanked Hajin. But there's no such thing as just a simple thank you. Hajin also wanted Ian to help with 2 tasks. The first request was when hunting in the northern region. If he saw any ingredients on this list, he should collect them for her, saying that Hajin handed Ian a piece of paper with names on it. The ingredients? And the second request was that she wanted Ian to help with her upcoming class at school. When Hajin asked, one said that Ian was studying at a Korean university, meaning now she wanted Ian to help her in real life too. She's studying a chef course at the Korean university's hotel and is a sophomore, while Ian was only a freshman. He was a bit hesitant. Hajin then put on a cute face with inviting words. You like good food, right? I really hope you can try all my dishes and see which one tastes the best, because my course is about making custom dishes. Now Ian understood. What he needed to help Hajin with was just eating and judging if it was good or not. This was a bit tough, but let him handle it. Yet Ian still had some thoughts. He asked, why would Hajin ask me for this? Doesn't she have friends? Maybe because she plays a system, unlike NPCs, so few people interact with her. After thinking, Ian agreed, but now he had to focus on the quest. He needed to get quest gear for the area. This time the zone was a bit dangerous and there wasn't much info, so Ian had to make sure he had the best gear when he got there to fight. After searching for a while, he bought any good gear he found right away. His hands purchased all the essentials. Finally, he needed a top-tier weapon. He wanted to find a bow like the wild-type one from before. He had bought some, but none of the bows matched his level for high damage, and there wasn't any bow that could boost summoned beast power. Suddenly, Ian spotted an interesting piece of gear, a pair of iron gloves from an ancient summoner. He immediately grabbed them and went hunting to test their power. This time, he hunted an ice goblin. Ian would attack from the front, and Lai would cover from behind. Ian used the skill to detect weak points when activated. A weak point is revealed, increasing accuracy by 19% and critical hit rate by 23.5%. Attacking the weak point deals an additional 47% damage. Then Ian used the gloves. He spent 900,000 gold to buy them. They punched directly and repeatedly at the monster's weak points. After using the new skill, Ian was very satisfied. I think it's worth every penny. Its name is the Ancient Summoner's Gauntlet. Combat power 2252.305. Durability 314. Health bonus plus 20. Dexterity plus 15%. Leadership plus 40. Classification Bare Fist. Rank Heroic. Minimum equipment requirement level 38. Innate abilities. All summoned beasts' HP increased by 10%. Combat power increased by 25%. Critical damage increased by 55%. When the player takes a critical hit, one of the summoned beast's innate abilities will activate. This is a weapon used by countless powerful summoners in ancient times. It can influence summoned beasts. Ian really likes this item's innate ability, but there's one catch. If it triggers randomly, it's very likely that when this skill activates, Ian might end up retreating into his shell, like Pipuji. Pipuji thinks, what the heck? There are physical trait rules, man. Ian, come back to your ice goblin form. At this moment, Ian uses the spatial swap skill. Instantly, Ian's summoned beast slap swaps positions and takes 1375 damage instead of Ian. That's definitely a level 60 ice goblin. Even slap took over 1000 damage. Ian realizes he needs to take down that goblin before it has a chance to heal. He lands a critical hit on the ice goblin. It takes 596 damage. Then Ian borrows Lai's berserk ability. For 15 minutes, Ian's combat power and dexterity increase by 30%. Defense decreases by 30%. Ian's body becomes more agile and filled with power. However, in this state, he could die from even a single hit, so Ian has to strike quickly and decisively. He lands consecutive critical hits on the ice goblin, punching its weak spots one after another. After a fierce struggle, the monster is finally defeated. Ian gains 1,160 experience points. Meanwhile, in a forest in Keelan, members of the Lotus Guild are also here. They're resting by a campfire. Yu Hyun speaks up. I've set the boundaries, because Oxer packs over level 100 might show up. A short-haired girl with a cool vibe says, yeah, you did great. The northern area isn't a place to mess around. Luckily, we came on this expedition. Thanks to that, we can build a foundation for the guild, even though the reason we came is that there's not much territory left in the north. The question is, can we hold the ground we occupy? We have to do it within 3 months, until we succeed. We must utilize every member to reinforce the stronghold. Right after finishing the expedition, we have to bring guild members here and hunt in the surrounding area as well. Hearing this, Yu Hyun knows everyone will come, except one person, Ian. He has to hunt more in the southern area to level up, and currently no one knows if he's reached the northern area yet. The girl says Ian recently asked her for some info about the northern area. He said he's going to hunt in the Ropia snowy mountains and is gathering all the info he can. Yu Hyun curiously asks the girl, what level is Ian now? But she's not sure. Besides, if he levels up fast, that's a good thing, right? Yu Hyun thinks to himself, what the hell is that crazy guy up to? That crazy guy is actively hunting, but Ian isn't gaining much experience now because he has to share it with 4 pets. Because of the 2 pets, leveling up has become much harder, and he's barely past level 40. Ian checks the shop's potential info. He's pretty surprised that its potential has already hit 100, but it still hasn't evolved. Normally, the evolution condition only requires potential to reach 100. Is there some other requirement now? Maybe each beast has different evolution requirements. Ian sighs. Whatever. There's nothing I can do now anyway, so I have to use skills to train Pipuji. This pet often disappears without a trace, making me go look for it. But every time it vanishes, it's just hunting for food. This time, it's eating a ghost potato, which boosts its potential by 10 and other stats by 5. Ghost potato is a rare medicinal herb. Ian wants to eat it too, so he tells Pipuji that next time it finds something similar, it has to bring it to him first, and he'll trade it for a smart meatball, like the ones my old man has. Right after Pipuji turns and crawls off somewhere, leading Ian to a maze, making him the first person to discover this maze. Finally, Pipuji did something useful. For the next 5 days, the item drop rate will be doubled, definitely worth the long trip to the northern area. The system suggests Ian register for this maze to earn 500 reputation, but he refuses. He doesn't want other players to know about this maze. If it gets recorded, all players in the region will rush here. He thinks he's under no obligation to share experience and double drop rates with other AIs. Now, let's enter the maze. Inside is pretty simple and dark, which is good because a complex maze would be easy to ambush or trap. The only problem is something inside gives Ian chills. He feels like a ghost or something might appear. His guess is spot on. Suddenly, countless two-horned monsters burst out from the walls. They are ghost dragons lying in ambush here. Ian quickly orders Slap to cast Ice Wave. Immediately, the ghost dragons take damage, and their movement slows by 30% for 10 seconds, but their mouths are still wide open. Slap fights them like a kung fu master facing giant lizards. Ian is a bit confused now, unsure how to handle this, because it'll be a while before he can use Frenzy. He tells Lai to handle the one on the left, not caring if Lee can actually attack it or not. What he needs is to buy time. Right after, Ian activates the Ancient Summoner's Gauntlet and borrows Slap's Ice Wave skill again. Ian's punches are insanely strong now, but still no match for these ghost dragons. They're tough to deal with, and if this continues, the fight will drag on forever. While everyone's fighting hard, Pipuji is sitting on the side, yawning and sleeping. Seeing this, Ian urges, "I beg you, Pipuji, attack those two monsters and draw their attention. Don't just sit there resting." Pipuji seems to say, "How do I know what to do?" Then it immediately steps forward. "Sleep now." Seeing that, Ian urged, "I beg you, Pipuji, attack those two monsters and draw their attention. Don't just sit there resting." Pipuji didn't say anything. "How do you know what to do?" It immediately advanced. At first, the two demon dragons thought they had an advantage and attacked Pipuji. Pipuji then hid inside its shell. Let those two attack as much as they wanted. Even if they landed critical hits, it only took 1 damage. Ian praised Pipuji enthusiastically. Pipuji earned 10 points. Ian believed he could win this battle. Then he ordered everyone to attack together. But suddenly, the demon dragons disappeared. Ian breathed a sigh of relief. Phew, almost defeated them. By then, Ian had reached the bottom of the dungeon, but he sensed the atmosphere was stranger than usual. Suddenly, a golden light appeared behind him. Thinking it was dangerous, Ian ordered his two pets to prepare to attack, but it seemed there was no threat. From the light, an old man with silver hair holding a staff stepped out. Ian thought he was a ghost. The old man said, "Ho ho, I see you are a summoner." Ian felt he couldn't be a monster. And since he was an elder, Ian spoke politely. He replied, "That's right, but are you an AI?" The old man pondered, speaking as he thought, "I didn't expect the first challenger of Oakley's test to be a summoner. I wonder if this is fate." So his name was Oakley. Ian asked why he was here. Oakley said he couldn't reveal that yet because Ian still had to pass his test. Only then would he reveal the full secrets of this labyrinth. As he finished speaking, Oakley raised his staff. A golden light enveloped him, summoning the Chaos Dragon to appear. This one is a hybrid dragon at level 75 hero rank. Its body is twice the size of the demon dragons, as tall as a 1-story building. Ian worried, "How is this even possible? How can I possibly defeat it? My beast summoner level is only at 40 to start with." At this moment, Ian felt like he was about to die. He wondered if he should cancel all his summoned beasts. Out of sheer fear, Ian's body weakened. All his stats dropped by 5% over 10 minutes. Still, he didn't back down and kept fighting. Old Man Oakley ordered the hybrid dragon to attack Ian. It started spewing fire. Ian quickly told Slap and Lie to scatter before the hybrid dragon roasted them all. Luckily, Ian managed to block it with his shield in time. Specifically, it was Pipuji's turtle shell. Pipuji, the so-called weird defense beast Ian summoned, saved his life. The hybrid dragon's fire was too strong. It pierced through the weird defense and cut a third of its HP. But Ian guessed it was like the demon dragons, poor defense and low HP. Now, he needed a strategy to fight this hybrid dragon. Ian ordered Slap to cast Ice Wave. Lai used a combined brutal attack from behind. Meanwhile, Ian activated his weakness detection skill, but before he could attack the hybrid, dragon struck him with its tail. Critical hit Slap took the blow for Ian. As a result, it lost 4,782 HP. Ian felt insane. Even for a level 70 boss monster, that was way too much damage. He cancelled Slap's summon. Now only Lee and Pipuji remained. Pipuji fought alongside him. Lee was fiercely aggressive. It charged and landed a critical hit on the hybrid dragon, reducing its HP by 1,776, inflicting 355 damage per second for 10 seconds. Lee's combat power increased within 5 seconds. Lee had attacked the boss's weak spot. In this regard, it perfectly matched Ian's skill set. The chaotic dragon lost too much health and went berserk. It tried to use its tail. When it attacked Lee, Ian quickly swapped positions with her. At that moment, he used Pipuji's shell. Pipuji defended, blocking a critical hit. Poor little turtle. This time it lost 118 health. Ian angrily thought, why is every attack a critical hit dragon? Our dumb Pipuji is still amazing. Surprisingly, it only lost about 100 health. Lee charged forward again. She bit and tore at the chaotic dragon, landing a critical hit. This dragon is tough even after a critical strike, but it still had more than half its health left. Now, the demon dragon swung its tail at Ian again. It knocked him far away and dealt 521 damage. But Ian wasn't about to be taken down so fast. He was determined to win. If he took too much damage, Ian's valuable experience would vanish with a game over. Plus, he'd be locked out of logging in for 24 hours. Too much damage. Even if he lost, he wanted to make sure Lee survived. No matter what, he couldn't lose Lee. Ian was about to cancel her summon when he saw she was still fighting fiercely, continuously landing critical hits on the chaotic dragon. Not only that, she also knew to attack the enemy's injured body parts, adding 36% extra damage. The chaotic dragon lost 3,269 health. Lai was carrying the team this fight. She was smarter than Ian thought. She had been targeting the weak spot on the chaotic dragon's neck all along. Only now did Ian realize these traits of hers. Now wasn't the time to test that. Ian noticed the chaotic dragon's health bar flickering. The flicker meant its health had dropped below half. He thought this was his chance. But it wasn't quite right, because after so long attacking, it had only lost half its health. This thing was truly a monster. Now the thing. Ian needed to make a practical decision whether his heart could win in this current state. No. In the end, he decided to cancel Lai's summon. Thanks for fighting hard. He didn't have time to use emergency first aid to heal. If the battle continued, Ian's body would become sluggish, and then he wouldn't be able to dodge the dragon's attacks anymore. He couldn't win with just Lee. So for now, he had to minimize losses. Ian was facing the risk of losing a level and being unable to log in for 24 hours, yet he still wanted to fight. Oakley saw this and said, "You really are full of surprises." Then he ordered the chaotic dragon to retreat. Ian conquered the chaotic maze. He gained 174,320 experience points and leveled up to 43. Only then did Ian realize from the start there was no way to kill that dragon. He sat down on the bag and groaned. What the hell is going on? Oakley approached and praised him. Surprising, truly surprising. I didn't think you could fight the chaotic dragon so well. Ian replied, what's surprising? I still lost. I almost died too. No, this is beast summoning. You can't defeat it with your current abilities. Congratulations on passing the test. What? Now you're saying that. Are you messing with me? What do you mean by test? What's your name, Jin Sung? Isn't Ian? Oakley asked. Is Ian interested in inheriting his legacy? At that moment, a status bar popped up, announcing the path of a beast tamer. Legendary beast tamer. Oakley was impressed with your summoning skills. He hopes you'll follow the path of becoming a beast tamer. If you accept the offer, you'll be able to upgrade to a beast tamer. Note that accepting the quest, you will lose your previous class. Ian was surprised, silently wondering if this was a hidden summoner class reset. Ian was thinking if this was some kind of trick, because he didn't believe he could get a hidden class. It's always like this, but just the name Beast Tamer sounds cool, yet he was still hesitant. Unsure whether a Master Tamer or a Beast Tamer was better, he had easily unlocked the Master Tamer class. at the start of the game, but this beast tamer class would require overcoming many troubles to obtain. After a moment of thought, he finally agreed to switch to the beast tamer class. Oakley was delighted to hear that. Very good, beast tamer is a great class. I guarantee you won't regret it. Then Oakley began transferring the class to Ian, but the system notified failure. You can't switch to a lower class. At that moment, old Oakley realized Ian was on the path to becoming a master, and the master tamer class was higher than beast tamer. Ian felt a bit disappointed, but he still tried to extract more info from Oakley because he believed he'd discover something useful. Oakley said from the start he knew Ian wasn't an ordinary summoner because he owned a red-maned wolf. But he didn't expect Ian to be a master. Ian asked Oakley, "Is my wolf that special?" Oakley replied, "Your wolf is a rare, red-maned wolf, but its power seems to be even greater. That's only possible if the tamer raises the summoned beast with a special method." Ian thought this old Oakley could accurately assess the rank and power of the wolf, even as an NPC. That was impressive to him. The title, Legendary Beast Tamer, wasn't just for show. Ian asked Oakley, "Why wait for a challenger like me?" before transferring the class. Then Oakley mentioned the most important thing he hadn't said yet. Ian guessed it was the reward after passing this ridiculous challenge. He thought he almost ended up empty-handed because of this old man. Then Ian followed Oakley. Meanwhile, Yu-hyun was struggling to fight a massive ice bear. After a tough battle, he finally defeated it. Suddenly a man said, "His name is Grovan. Well done. So now we've met the minimum requirement to upgrade to a village, right?" Yu-hyun said they had reached 1,000 territory points, so they could start upgrading immediately. After that, Lotus Base was upgraded to Lotus Village, and the village chief of Lotus Village was automatically given to the guild leader Heiser. That's Yu-hyun. Everyone laughed at Heiser. They think Heiser is too young to be the village chief, just looks more mature than he actually is. The guild base upgrade is complete. But surprisingly, Grovan's reputation is the highest. Heiser is thinking about Ian, wondering if he's okay right now. Seems like he's not doing well. "I'm so sleepy I can barely keep my eyes open, yawning non-stop. It's been 5 days straight, with only 2 hours of sleep each night. It's exhausting me to death. My vision is starting to blur." Ian is beginning to regret the mandatory mission that Oakley assigned him earlier. Those who pass the test can receive a partial reward, along with an unrefusable quest, a mission they are forced to complete. Ian has no other choice. Now he regrets it, because the risk is too high. If he fails or quits after accepting the mission, he will lose a reputation equivalent to the mission's rank, and the reason Ian accepted the mission is because he couldn't know the mission details beforehand, unless he decided to accept it. And knowing Ian's personality, quitting halfway isn't his style. The mission is called The Trail of the Forgotten Ancient Monster Taming. The legendary dragon tamer Oakley sealed himself underground in Crumpia Snow Mountain for over 1,000 years. Obtain the divine dragon's soul stone from him and find the space mage. Difficulty level B. Requires a summoner with skills recognized by Oakley. No team formation allowed during the mission. No time limit and unclear rewards. Ian feels this mission is quite tough. He hasn't even reached level 50 yet, but has to play at difficulty B. At least there's no time limit, which is good. But not being able to form a team makes it even harder, although he likes playing solo. He can't complete the mission alone, unless he levels up and becomes stronger. Seeing this, the old man Oxy Lai gave Ian a divine dragon soul stone. In truth, he was a summoner from 1,000 years ago in his era. There were legendary monsters that no longer exist, like the summoned beasts that accompanied him for a long time, and his closest companion was the war dragon Cassius 1,000 years ago. Oakley was the leader of the long-lost dragon tamers. Cassius was one of the 5 divine dragons. Back then, the dragon tamers' residence in the northern continent of the Prulandia Valley was attacked by evil dragons. Countless dragons and tamers died. There were too many evil dragons and their lords. Kalipa was even stronger than Cassius. That's why Oakley had to flee and hide in Crumpia Snow Mountain. He had the duty to protect his summoner companions. The evil dragons wouldn't easily let them go. So Oakley had no choice but to seal himself and the summoners underground. That's why he had to endure 1,000 years in this place, a place without a single ray of sunlight to revive the CEUs, and if possible even the dragon tamers. That's why Oakley gave this stone to Ian. He must bring it to the space mage, and the space mage will tell him how to bring the war dragon's soul back to this world. Initially, Oakley intended for Ian to inherit the dragon tamer legacy and gave him Cassius's soul, so he could peacefully leave this world, and the war dragon would become Ian's summoned beast. However, Ian's profession ranks even higher than that of a dragon taming master. Ian wondered, only a dragon taming master can restore the spirit stones of the Zeus. Why did Oakley say it's not exactly like that? However, only the innate skill of a dragon taming master can resurrect the Seos into a new battle dragon, but since he was sealed, he couldn't use his own skills. He advised Ian that if he brought the spirit stones to a spatial mage, they would find another way to resurrect the battle dragon. Then Oakley gave Ian a decorative feather from a dragon taming master. It's an artifact passed down to the leaders of the dragon taming masters, but it can't be used immediately. First, it must be taken to a spatial mage to break the seal. Only then will its true power shine. Ian was determined to find a spatial mage at all costs. To do so, he would have to head toward the eastern edge of the southern continent. There lies the Tower of Spatial Magic. After saying these words, Oakley had no regrets left. He hoped Ian would resurrect the descendants of the divine dragons in this world. Then, he vanished into the void. Holding the spirit stone in his hand, Ian felt as if he had just received an extraordinary mission. Surely this mission involved more than just its extreme difficulty. Also, it required the help of a spatial mage, so there would be related tasks. The harder it is, the more Ian wanted to see it through. Curious, Ian checked the feather Oakley had just given him and exclaimed, "This is a legendary rank." Item info for the Dragon Taming Master's Feather Defense, 36 Durability, 150 Leadership Attribute, plus 150 Correlation Lock, plus 200. All attack stats, locked at plus 15%. Legendary headgear item player locked. Ian cannot give or sell it to others, and it won't drop on death. Default stats, all summoner stats increase by 20%, and critical hit rate increases by 25%. When equipped, you have unlimited monster taming capacity due to leadership points. However, you cannot summon pets if you exceed the leadership limit. When equipped, leadership points required to summon dragons are reduced by 50%. Correlation with Dragon Taming Master is increased. After reviewing the info, Ian felt he would be unbeatable if he could unlock this item. But its stats are tricky and slippery. The number of monsters caught might not mean much, but if your summoned pet runs out of health during battle, you can swap in another. Just like substitutions in soccer. And taming a dragon is a common goal for summoners. Ian was certain he would catch a dragon in the future, so the stat reductions on this feather are quite useful, which is why he would complete this mission no matter the cost, but at least he had to reach level 70 to complete this B-rank mission solo. So the priority was to level up first. However, grinding nonstop for 5 days straight like this wasn't sustainable. Finally, Ian reached level 50 and gained summoning stats, magical power, and soul magic power stats. At this point, Ian's beast taming skills are pretty sharp. Luckily, Dat leveled up to 50 just before his booking time expired. If anything theoretical can happen, there's nothing to fear but practice. But first, he needs to lie down. One day, just as he was planning to rest, a status notification popped up. You are the first summoner to reach level 50. He received 1,500 prestige points. A level 50 summoner has appeared in the Lucifer Kingdom of the 6 Corona territories. A summoner tower will be constructed in Miulan, the capital of the Lucifer Kingdom. Contributing to the summoner tower adds 5,000 points. Now, summoners in the Lucifer Kingdom can accept profession-related quests. Upon arriving at the summoner tower, he activated the Summoner Prophecy quest. When Ian clicked to view the quest, he learned it was a national mission. You are a summoner, pioneer, the forerunner. Among all summoners in the Lucifer Kingdom, your reputation has spread across the land. Thus, Emperor Celius wishes to meet you. Find Emperor Celius within 7 days. The quest requires becoming the first summoner to reach level 50. The time limit is 7 days. The reward is unknown. If you decline the quest, your affinity with Emperor Celius will decrease. If you have no affinity points, your hostility points will increase. Ian realized this was indeed a special quest. It could grant him a ton of prestige and a major contribution reward, maybe even a noble title. He knew Kelon was a world that generated plenty of great loot for players who leveled up, but right now, he was too sleepy. He had to take a nap, then log back in and head to Miulan later. Meanwhile, in Miulan, the capital of the Lucifer Kingdom, an earthquake occurred, surprising everyone. Earthquakes in this world. Shortly after a new tower appeared, it was the Summoner Tower, the first to appear among all new professions. Everyone was amazed, wondering which demon was the first to reach level 50 as a summoner. As for Ian, he had just woken up after a very good night's sleep. First, he had to finish 8 packs of instant noodles to warm his stomach and check the forum news before logging into the game. Today there were many posts about the Summoner Tower appearing in Miulan. It seemed even the AI was surprised by Ian's achievement, since he was the first to reach level 50 with the summoner profession. Speaking of AI, it was acting totally spaced out. Among the posts, one claimed to know who the level 50 summoner was. Ian knew posts like these were just clickbait, but he couldn't help being curious. He clicked to check. Unexpectedly, it was a real picture of him, but people didn't believe it, thinking it was fake. Comments flooded in like, "This looks so fake. Are you trying to fool us with this fake photo? What kind of wolf is that huge? Definitely fake. If you want to make a fake photo, at least do it properly." Annoyed, he abandoned his 8 packs of noodles. Ian logged back in immediately. How are these idiots calling it fake? Then he summoned Lee. He petted Lee and started complaining about his beast. If your beast was as strong as you, that would be great. Then he summoned Pupuji. As soon as she was summoned, she seemed annoyed, probably overhearing his bad-mouthing. Ian quickly started flattering her. "I wouldn't have to fear anything if you were by my side, Pupuji. If you keep protecting me, I'll give you 3 meat pieces every morning. And 4 pills in the evening, 4 in the morning, and 3 at night. Is that okay?" Ian said, as he rubbed her head. She immediately softened. He had just called her crazy, and now he was praising her for being smart and cute. He really flipped sides like flipping a rice paper. Suddenly, Ian received a message from Iu Hyun, who immediately cursed him out as soon as she texted. "What the hell are you doing? Aren't you the hidden summoner class reset who just hit level 50? Ian thought Iu Hyun was the only one who knew he was a level 50 summoner. But no, Hajin also messaged him right after. She didn't even ask, she just knew for sure he had reached level 50. When the girl texts, you gotta reply immediately, because Hajin even recognized it was him right away. Even Iu Hyun still had to ask him since she wasn't sure, but because Hajin wasn't online, Ian had no choice but to talk to Iu Hyun. "You really hit level 50, you monster. Our guild recently established a dungeon in the northern area called the Snow Roken School. Hurry up and help us out. It's pretty big and special. Come help us when you hit level 70. The monsters here are pretty high level. I'll try to level up as fast as possible. Anything else? Oh, almost forgot. Can you stop playing for a week? The Empire Arena is starting next week. You need to be level 50 or below to join the rookie tournament. If you win, you get 50,000 prestige points." Why didn't Ian think of that? He replied to Iu Hyun, "Alright, a week is actually pretty long. I think I'll do something else instead of playing. Okay, good luck. Catch you later." Ian thought he should focus on the prophecy quest this week, right after he went to the summoning tower and thought this thing was created from my achievements. It made him feel pretty proud. He liked the gate design, and since he still had time, he decided to check out what was inside the tower. This place was quite beautiful, similar to the Archer Tower, so it definitely focused on artifact exchanges. He was already on the 5th floor. They exchanged items and skill books by trading contribution points. As he spoke, he ascended to the 5th floor. Inside the tower, an NPC greeted him, "Hello, summoner. This is the Artifact Exchange Center. How can we assist you? I want to browse the artifact shop." The NPC asked for Ian's name to look up his contribution points. After learning his name, she seemed to discover something and looked very happy. Then she led Ian to check out artifacts and skill books that could be exchanged with contribution points. Ian currently had 5,000 points. He could exchange for quite a few things. Ian carefully examined the details of each item. The stuff here wasn't too expensive, but nothing caught his eye. Ian was looking for something as powerful as the feather, but it was a legendary item, requiring at least level 80, so it was unlikely to be here. He thought he should save his contribution points for better items later. The girl then invited him to check out skill books to see if anything interesting was available. Surely, there would be something suitable for Ian. Out of respect for the pretty girl, Ian agreed to take a quick look, saying, "Take a look," but he was definitely going to snag something cool. Meanwhile, on Karen Grupia's mountain peak, a cool guy was also grinding hard to level up. He had blue eyes, purple hair, and wore a black mask, looking super mysterious. His sword skills were top-notch. Leveling up. He has blue eyes and purple hair, also wears a black mask, looking super mysterious. His sword skills are top-notch. It looks like he's an assassin. He keeps slashing at the one-eyed boss buried in ice non-stop. The only problem is, this monster is way too tanky. No wonder it's a level 65 boss. He planned to grind up to level 50, but it's probably going to take another half day. Right now he's still level 49, and he's caught wind of some summoner guy. That summoner hit level 50 a few days ago. He's pretty eager for a solo match with Ian. The arena registration opens in 4 days, so he just wants to grind for now, because if he hits level 50, he won't be able to join. Meanwhile, Ian is testing out some skill book. It looks pretty strong, probably on a deep discount. Ian finally bought 2 skill books with 1,700 contribution points. One is called Firewall. It's an active skill, costs 20 mana from the spirit, cooldown time 3 minutes, summons a fire spirit, temporarily creates a firewall to block enemy attacks. The firewall absorbs damage. Fire damage equals 200% of magic power. The summon condition requires learning the passive skill to summon a fire spirit first. The second book is called Electric Manipulation. An active skill, hero rank, costs 15 mana. Summons a thunder spirit, cooldown 1 minute, creates lightning orbs in both hands. Throwing the lightning orb at enemies deals damage equal to 250% of magic power. Summon. Then the orb splits into 4 and shoots out at high speed. If the split orbs hit enemies or obstacles, they bounce once more before disappearing. After 5 seconds, enemies hit by electric manipulation have a 15% chance to be paralyzed for 20 seconds. Paralysis reduces target speed by 30% and increases damage taken by 50%. For the electric attack, the skill condition is only after learning the passive summon skill. The activation condition is after the thunder spirit is summoned. Ian especially likes this pressure skill. Its attack power is relatively low for a hero rank skill, but the added effect like paralysis is awesome. This must be the magic power summoning spirit skill line. Gotta learn these skills first. Saying that Ian used the skill book to summon a thunder spirit. It looks like a flying chicken. Ian named it Chip. He's always confident about the names he gives his pets. Even if others get annoyed, he's not mad at the thunder spirit Chip. Its stats are as follows. Spirit power over 1000, electric attribute, summon duration 375 minutes, low rank spirit, summon cooldown 500 minutes. It will evolve into a great spirit when its spirit power maxes out. The higher the magic power used to summon, the longer the summon duration, so Chip can't really fight, so Ian can only see it as a tool to use electric summon magic. He thinks having something strong from the start would be great, but raising it from the beginning is fun too. Now he has to go meet Emperor Celius. When Ian reached the city gate, the guards stopped him. Ian was a bit surprised before he reset his character. He could still come and go freely. After thinking it over, he introduced himself and talked about his mission. Summon the pioneer. Tell them I'm here because the Emperor wants to see me, you two. The two guards still didn't quite believe it and ran off to ask the captain. After a while, the chief royal guard himself came to meet Ian. As soon as he arrived, he said, "Apologies, welcome pioneer. I am Miulan, the chief royal guard. I didn't notify the soldiers in advance, so I made you wait. Please forgive me." He was quite polite. He invited Ian to follow him. As they walked, Ian wondered what rank this chief royal guard held. Checking the info, he saw the man was level 115. Ian was a bit surprised since the top player hadn't even reached level 120 yet. Even the other guards were level 114 and 117. This empire was insanely powerful. That was probably why. The top guilds couldn't set up bases on the Corona continent. If they provoked the empire, the entire guild would be wiped out. Ian thought his Lotus Guild made a smart choice, building their base in the northern region instead of here. Definitely a good call. So now he had to quickly level up and help the guild. Strengthen the land around the base. After entering the throne room to meet the king, Ian was a bit surprised. He expected the emperor to be an old man with gray hair. But no, the guy looked young and handsome. Beside him was a trusted bodyguard, and all his info was hidden too. Ian didn't know his rank. The emperor began explaining why he wanted to meet Ian. "When I heard an outstanding person like you appeared in the Lucifer Empire, I had to find you because you met Emperor Celius within the time limit." So Ian completed the Pioneer Summoner mission and earned 1,250 reputation points. In the Empire, definitely on another level. Celius was very excited to hear about Ian. He had long wanted to find a skilled summoner like Ian. When Ian asked why, the bodyguard Hylam snapped and cursed at him for being disrespectful. Ian was like, "Wait, what?" The emperor calmly said, "Haha, Hylam is fine. He's an adventurer who doesn't understand royal etiquette." Ian nearly pissed himself, thought he was about to die. If that guy had swung his greatsword at him, Ian would have been wiped out in one hit. But looking closely, the sword seemed like a very valuable high-level item. One hit, and it was game over. At this point, the emperor continued, "Ian, you know the legendary creature symbolizing our Lu ship empire, right?" Ian looked like he was about to die. Oh man, he looked up at the painting on the wall. He guessed it was a griffin. It's a lion monster, with the head wings and talons of an eagle. About 6 months ago, the empire found a griffin nest in the Sika desert and captured an egg. That's when Ian realized griffins really existed, and was amazed they had defeated them. Celius continued. "However, the problem is, we haven't been able to hatch the egg even after half a year. I want you to find a way to hatch this griffin egg," meaning Ian's mission would be the griffin egg hatching quest. Upon completion, he would receive a summoning skill book from the royal library, If Ian refused his favor with Emperor Celius would decrease, and naturally, his enemy points would increase. Ian was a bit confused. He didn't even know how to hatch a griffin egg. And of course the enemy's defense points will increase. Ian was a bit confused. He doesn't even lay griffin eggs, so how would he know? Boiling them is fine, but asking me to hatch eggs, no way. Ian noticed the time limit for the quest wasn't showing, so he wasn't sure what that meant. He didn't know where to start. But he couldn't afford to lose reputation by skipping the quest. He never skipped quests before, right? He always completed every quest, so this time was no exception, no refusals. Things just kept getting worse. Ian had received 2 huge quests, but hadn't gained anything from them. At least he knew where to get support for the Forgotten Ancient Monster quest. That was to find the Space Mage. But the Birdmaster's certification quest, he had no clue about that one. So he was totally confused. He decided to check out the arena Yu Hyun mentioned earlier. What was going on with these 2 quests? The arena had been open for 5 days, so Ian figured he should level up some new skills by hunting there. After checking it out, Ian found an ant's throne here. Just then, Hajin messaged him. Hey, what are you up to, Ian? Oh, I'm getting ready to hunt. I'm aiming to boost my experience to 99%. I'm at a cafe near school, discussing my vacation quest with a friend. I'd love to grab a meal together if you're free. You're nearby too, right? Getting invited to eat by a cute girl. That's awesome. He really liked the idea, but thought he needed to use his overpowered pet summoner game skills right now, so he had to grit his teeth and decline. Sorry, Hajin. Let's eat together later. I'm already in the hunting zone, so it's inconvenient to leave now. Got it. Just text me when you're done hunting. I might reply slowly, so here's my phone number. Skipping a meal with a cute girl to hunt was heartbreaking, but right now the game was more important. Soon after Ian and his 3 pets arrived at the ant cave. These were giant ants. Ian ordered Slap to move forward. These ants were really dangerous. Slap kept taking damage from them. Then, Slap unleashed the cold stone wave, knocking the ants back. At that moment, Lee charged forward, knocking down each monster one by one. Only Pipuji was still sleepy, but when it saw Ian looking at it, it immediately understood and jumped onto his shoulder, turning into a defensive shield. Now, she was smarter, no longer needing Ian to tell her what to do. Then Ian tested his new skill, the level 1 restart cheat electric surge, throwing it toward the ants. But it flew ridiculously slow. Ian exclaimed, "Green bean, way too slow. How are you supposed to attack like that?" The ant gave a contemptuous look like, "You really think you can attack us with that?" A bit embarrassing, but whatever, let's try again. This time, Ian clenched both fists and directly attacked landing punches on each ant. This move actually worked. The electric surge caused the giant ants to take 1,179 damage. Immediately after the paralysis effect activated, the giant ants were paralyzed and slowed down by 30%. Immediately after the paralysis effect activated, the giant ants fell into paralysis and were slowed by 30%. A bit embarrassing, but whatever, let's try again. This time Ian clenched both fists and directly attacked by punching each beast. This move actually worked. The surge of electric waves caused the giant ant to take 1,179 damage. Immediately after the paralysis effect was triggered, the giant ant fell into paralysis and slowed down by 30%. Right after the paralysis effect was activated, the giant ant became paralyzed and slowed by 30%. Taking over 50% more damage from electric-type attacks, Ian found this skill most suitable for mobbing. Mobbing or mob refers to the weak monsters generated by the system, like those small, fast runners. Kwang fought the superhuman before facing the boss. Ian's current experience points were 99.9%. He might reach level 51 if he trained a bit more. So now he had to retreat. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to participate in the arena anymore. Just as he was about to withdraw, he noticed the turtle disappeared. Turning around, he saw it was already looking for something to eat. At that moment, it was eating a giant ant egg. Ian hurriedly cancelled its summon, but was too late. It had destroyed one giant ant egg, and Ian only gained 36 experience points. Then he leveled up to 51. The turtle was way too reckless. Ian covered his face and screamed from the shock. He was probably thinking about what delicious dish to make with the turtle now. Ian sighed and asked himself what to do now. If he wanted to lower his level, the only way would be to eliminate himself. He would hide all items that could drop upon death. He found a sword and stabbed himself in the chest. Immediately, he lost experience and dropped back to level 50. In exchange, he wouldn't be able to log in for 24 hours, which was fine. After all, it was an opportunity to rest for a day and go on a date. He had arranged to meet Hajin the next day. At this point, he seemed a bit shy. The first meeting would probably be awkward. She invited him to meet at a cafe. In front of the school's back gate, When Jin Sung saw Hajin from afar, he had to exclaim because she was so beautiful. Walking and thinking, how could someone be that pretty? Maybe she was famous in real life when meeting Hajin. She looked exactly like her in the game. Surely she didn't edit her character when setting it up, Jin Sung thought to himself. She looked much prettier than her character in Keelan. Hajin was still modest. Hey, I wanted to be prettier, so I edited a lot. That's why you didn't recognize me, right? You must be pretty disappointed, Hajin. Sung didn't answer that question, but just invited Hajin to breakfast. Hajin took him to a breakfast spot she knew. Looking closely, Hajin was just focused on the food. The two talked back and forth and seemed really happy. So happy that Jin Sung only got home late at night. As soon as he got home, he complained, "Man, I'm drained. Women really are scary creatures. But if it weren't for Hajin, when would I ever get to eat with a girl?" The next day, at Keelan. It was also the day the arena took place. "Nice to meet you all. I'm commentator Hans. And I'm commentator Lucia. There are a lot of people today, Lucia." Yes, the entire arena seems much more enthusiastic than over a month ago, although this is just the rookie tournament, not the main event. Many new classes have been added to Haze. Which class do you think will show the highest combat power in the arena? For one-on-one matches, it would probably be the Assassin class. That class has much higher attack power than the Dark Wizard and Summoner. Ian stood aside, observing. It seemed like the first preliminary match was finally starting. The first to enter was the assassin, Liam Long. Armed with two short blades, his opponent was the warrior Pio. His weapon was a huge, badass greatsword. Ian didn't know how an assassin would fight, but he certainly lived up to the assassin title. Right from the start, he used an overpowered skill and struck unexpectedly. Plio lost nearly half his health, but still refused to give up. Plio then unleashed a shockwave, but it didn't damage Lim Long. Instead, Lim Long launched a barrage of dagger throws at Plio. Plio lost health and collapsed on the spot. Lim Long won the preliminary match, and it was an amazing first round. Ian found himself quite impressed with Lim Long and decided to keep an eye on this assassin. At that moment, Lim Long looked up toward the stands where Ian was seated. He gave Ian a sharp glare. Ian noticed and felt like something bad was about to happen. He knew Keelan had many powerful hidden players, so he had to stay alert. Ian was now sitting in the waiting room, preparing for his turn to fight. He was debating which weapon to bring. Meanwhile, he watched previous matches, but they were all a joke, not worth watching. He'd rather watch the rookie prelims. Ian thought they played terribly. Even players below level 50 were pathetic. They were worse than the usual skills of Harry's and Groven. He mocked them quickly. Then it was time for the match between Ian and Jimenez. This Himeni was the top dark mage. He looked very handsome, driving the ladies crazy. Everyone hailed him as the greatest dark horse. The moment he stepped out, he stole all of Ian's spotlight, which annoyed Ian a bit. But he quickly regained his composure. If his opponent was the #1 dark mage, then he was the #1 summoner. Although Ian didn't know much about assassins, he knew a bit about dark mages. He just had to watch out for bone prison and wide area skills. And that guy's HP was even lower than that of mages and archers. He started the match with a shockwave before the fight began. Himeni wanted to shake Ian's hand, but Ian found him fake. He ordered Lee. As soon as the match started, target the dark mage. He'd definitely unleash all his firepower on Ian. Once the match began, summoners were easy to defeat if caught before summoning pets. Their strength could be exploited. But Ian had a few trump cards left. As soon as the signal sounded, Ian charged straight at Himene without hesitation. Himene was quite surprised. He expected Ian to summon pets to fight his undead first. But Ian just charged at him. As predicted, Himene unleashed his firepower. Ian easily dodged because he could predict where the skill would land. He had invested all his stats into agility. Himene was even more shocked that Ian dodged his firepower. He suspected Ian was an assassin, not a summoner. Ian activated his weakness detection skill combined with Lee's berserk skill. Seeing this, Himene hurriedly summoned bone skeletons. A bunch of skeletons appeared as his shield. Ian summoned Slap. Everyone was surprised Ian had a bear pet. An ice bear pet was seriously cool. Slap unleashed an ice wave. Ian combined it with a surge of electric waves. It caused Himene's skeletons to lose all their limbs. What could they do now? Lee then rushed in to land a critical hit on Himene. It dealt 3,157 damage and a total of 515 damage over 10 seconds. Himene was furious at this mad dog. How could it deal 3,000 damage to him? It wasn't even a level 78 Dark Wolf, and its summoner wasn't even level 50 yet. Without waiting for Himene to make a move, Ian ended the match quickly with a thunder punch right to his face. Everyone in the stands was buzzing with comments. It was extraordinary, like an action movie. That match was intense, amazing. He's the best. Those girls earlier were even praising Himene. At this moment, jaws dropped in admiration at Ian, and the two commentators started their analysis. Truly an incredible match. Especially that giant wolf, it completely crushed Himini in just a few attacks. The beast summoning was excellent, but the player himself was amazing too. Clearly Ian is a hidden summoner class reset type with quick reflexes. This is crazy. On Himini's side, he's really pissed at Ian having let his guard down, because Ian is a summoner. Everyone thought Ian was just a noob, since he only carried iron fists as weapons, but who knew the dark horse? Number 1 could fall from the parking lot. If he had focused, he would have won already. Damn, Ian even read his mind and thought, how is the number 1 dark mage this weak? His moves are trash, he couldn't even dodge a single hit. Thanks to this match, no AI will underestimate summoners in the MMORPG Monster Tamer regression tree anymore. Other players were now buzzing about Ian and his summoned beasts. Surely the AI wants to have a pet like Lee's. The two commentators took a break and chatted about Ian and Liam Long. They felt these two had something special. It seemed they trained themselves with unique methods. Hans said, now that I think about it, I feel like I've met that summoner and the pink wolf demon somewhere before. Turns out he's the player I met on the ghost ship during the mage quest. He's really lucky. The next match quickly started. Ian had reached round 64. His motto was to have fun first. And winning was the main goal. He felt if he kept winning like this, he could earn 100,000 reputation points and get a full level 50 summoner set. All rare hero-grade gear. This time, he was very confident about winning the prize. Ian's opponent this round was a female archer. She looked familiar and shot Ian a sideways glance as soon as they met. Turns out, she was the player who tried to PK him during the cleric quest, but she must be above level 50. How is she here? The only explanation is, she also used a level 1 restart cheat to downgrade herself like Ian. This girl was still very angry because Ian had PK'd her halo necklace. She immediately called Ian a shameless bastard. Ian pretended not to know what was going on, but of course he had auctioned it off to make a profit. She didn't care anymore. She just wanted to smash Ian to pieces with her own hands. Ian teased her even more. Usually losers bark the loudest. Heh. Everyone saw this and guessed these two had fought before. If so, this match was going to be hilarious. That arrogant girl threatened Ian. Today you won't be cocky anymore. I know your secret. But what secret? Even Ian didn't know he had a secret, she added. That wolf you summoned isn't a tamed beast, it's controlled by an artifact you use to bind it. You don't have anything but that item, right? Ian didn't understand what she was saying, but Hans and Lucia started whispering, oh my god. If that's true, this is a huge deal, right? He's way too strong for a level 50 summoner, if he really has a summoning artifact. If that's true, then this is a big deal, right? He's way too strong for a level 50 summoner, if there really is a summoning relic. Winning this rookie league match will be a breeze. I wonder if this breaks any rules. It seems like the rich just get richer and the poor get poorer in this game, Ian thought to himself. What the hell is going on? I'm pissed now. And of course, the others watching the match believed what she said was true. She even demanded to eliminate Ian first. This really pissed Ian off this time. He angrily said, you idiot, I'll wipe you out in 30 seconds. The match began. She used a homing arrow to attack Ian, even though this was a high-level skill. But she didn't know Ian was an archer too. He easily dodged her arrow, yet she was still smug, because the homing arrow would return to attack the target if it hadn't hit anything. As the arrow was about to turn back to attack Ian, Pipuji quickly defended. Her arrows were blocked by Pipuji's shell, causing some damage. She was surprised. Pipuji. What the hell is Pipuji? Ian smugly said. I have a bulletproof vest called Pipuji, so I can take a few hits. Right after Ian closed in on her, continuing to use his thunderous punches, landing a critical hit to her chest, he won and easily advanced to the semifinals. So far, Ian's matches have been way too easy, but the semifinals will probably be a bit tougher, just as expected. Ian's opponent this round was a kid, but Ian told himself not to underestimate him. He greeted the boy sincerely. I'm Ian, let's have a good match. The kid sighed, then spoke in a haunting tone. Finally, someone with real skill. This match won't be easy, but many will be upset if I, the greatest wizard of the 6th realm, lose here. Evil dark summoner, your luck ends here. You'll fall before me. Get ready. Ian was speechless. What kind of lame trash talk is this? Is this kid delusional or what? Ian thought the kid was just a dark wizard. What right did he have to accuse him of being a dark summoner? And what's with the greatest wizard of the 6th realm? Turns out this is the legendary crazy kid. The kid's name was Ganji Hun. He even told Ian to remember his name. The match started. The kid began summoning skeletons, but these didn't look like ordinary skeletons. They were black, and the kid probably had a hidden class. That's why he could summon skeletons Ian had never seen before. He was pretty unpredictable. Ian didn't know what skills he would use. He started regretting not watching a few matches earlier. The Dark Wizard kid used a skill called Abyssal Prison. Ian got hit by it and was slowed by 20%. Although annoyed that he couldn't end the match quickly, Ian decided to fight normally. He ordered Lee to flank the kid from the side, while Slap kept using ice waves as usual. Ian continued using turbo boosts to paralyze the skeletons. They were slowed by 30%. However, this kid had more tricks than Ian expected. He continued using a skill called Dark Judgment Strike. It was fast, but Ian could still predict its trajectory. Through the caster's hands, the kid kept babbling nonsense while fighting. Must be that incurable delusion of grandeur. Then Ian ordered Slap to punch head-on. But he didn't actually throw a punch. Turns out that was just a distraction move. The real attack came from behind. That was Lee Lai's strike, charging like a fierce lion sweeping through all the skeletons. At that moment, that kid Hun took a critical hit from Lee and lost 2,272 health points. But it seems all this was within that kid's prediction. He activated the skill Dead Man's Revenge and reflected 276 damage back onto Lai, causing Lai to take 6,270 damage. Ian realized the danger then. Lai's health was still under 8,000. At this rate, he'd be down soon. With no other choice, Ian had to cancel Lai's summon. The kid Hun started getting cocky. Heh, just as I thought, that pitiful wolf. High attack power, but terrible vitality. Nothing can hide from my crime-seeing eye. Meanwhile, Ian was still a bit shocked. He never imagined he'd have to fight without Li. He should have played it safe and taken out the skeletons first. But after Li's critical hit, that kid also took significant damage. And the Dead Man's Revenge skill probably wouldn't last long. So Ian thought he still had a chance to win this match. Then the kid Hun used the Soul Absorption move. His health was fully restored to normal. This battle was really intense. Everyone was debating who would come out on top. At this point, it was unbelievable that Ian decided to dismiss all his summoned beasts. He probably wanted to go for a one-on-one duel. No fear of this kid anymore. Surprised by Ian's move, Hun thought Ian was conceding defeat. He started babbling. Hey, have you realized my dominance and given up? I'll accept your surrender. I'm truly merciful. Ian couldn't stand it and shouted angrily. Hey kid, if you keep talking trash like that, your big brother's gonna teach you a lesson, brat. It seemed Ian's words pissed off the kid, just as Ian intended. At that moment, the little turtle Pipuji couldn't stand it anymore. It suddenly jumped up like it wanted to defend Ian's honor. So touching. Ian thought it followed him just for meatballs, but it bravely stood up to protect him. Hun arrogantly said he'd eliminate the big-headed little turtle. He once again cast the Judgment of Darkness spell on Pipuji. The little turtle quickly hid in its shell. So it only took one hit. Frustrated at being unable to harm, Pipuji Hun turned back to attack Ian. He ordered the skeletons to chase Ian. Ian pretended to flee, but had a different plan. Suddenly, Ian used the spatial swap skill, appearing right behind the kid. Since he was small, Ian just flicked him lightly. He flipped over. Ian then stepped closer and used the forehead flick. Ultimate move. One flick and the kid was suddenly eliminated. Damn. Kids are easy to handle after all. Turns out, by arena rules, Hun was disqualified because the boundary effect was active. And just like that, Ian won the semi-finals. He said to Lucia, "That was an unexpected comeback. Did you see that, crazy? How could he use his skills so flawlessly? He won, without even needing the summoned wolf. Thanks to the artifact. Truly skillful." Ian heard that and angrily replied, "It's not the artifact. You guys actually believe that ridiculous artifact story." At this moment, the kid groaned and shouted, "It has to be my victory. I'm about to win." Ian advised him not to cry like a baby. That's how you grow up. The kid kept crying, demanding a rematch for this round. Ian ignored him and turned away. "If you want to try again next time, I'll face you then." The rookie tournament's heat was explosive, so intense that the entire ITBC station's support center has been flooded with calls all evening requesting to watch the rookie tournament live right now. The phone operators seemed on the verge of losing their minds with so many incoming calls. No one knew how many times this had happened already. Everyone was eager to watch a tournament that wasn't even finished yet. The forums were buzzing too. These female operators were also very curious about what was going on in the rookie tournament. Meanwhile, inside the arena, Ian had reached the finals, and just as predicted, the assassin Liam Long had also made it to the finals. This match was truly the most anticipated fight. What would happen when the two strongest faced off? Ian felt a bit nervous. Unexpectedly, he only used basic skills to get this far, while Ian had already revealed all his cards. Liam Long greeted politely. "Hello Ian, I really enjoy watching your matches. Nice to meet you, let's have a great fight." The match hadn't even started yet, but the excitement had already spread throughout the arena. Some even said there was no need for AI to win everything. It seemed that just watching these two battle was enough to satisfy everyone. As for Ian, no matter how he thought about it, he still felt this wasn't a favorable opponent for a summoner. If he didn't find a way to counter, with Liam Long's invisible skill, he wouldn't stand a chance to win this match. He needed to maximize his senses and dodge the first strike with his reflexes. Then he had to win before the cooldown on that invisibility skill ended. But it seemed Ian was overthinking. This time, Liam Long didn't use invisibility but charged straight at Ian instead.